Have you ever wondered how one man's presidency could shape the course of a nation's history? Imagine a leader so forward-thinking, so committed to progress. He would forever alter the landscape of American politics. That's the story of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a man whose presidency was marked by a dedication to progressive ideals. Roosevelt was a staunch advocate for women's rights and a champion for environmental conservation. His commitment to social and environmental reform was revolutionary for its time, setting new standards for the role of government in safeguarding the welfare of its citizens and protecting our planet. Join us as we delve into the fascinating journey of Roosevelt's presidency. His story is a testament to the power of leadership and the potential for change. The year was 1901, and a new leader was about to step into the White House. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, a new president was poised to take the reins of the United States. Theodore Roosevelt, a man of extraordinary energy, ambition, and a distinct vision for a better America, was about to ascend to the highest office in the land. His ascension was sudden, following the tragic assassination of President William McKinley. But Roosevelt did not let the unexpected transition deter him. With a clear vision and a strong spirit, he stepped into the role ready to lead and inspire. From the outset, Roosevelt's presidency was marked by his commitment to progressive ideals. He believed in the power of government to protect and serve its citizens, to ensure fair play, and to create a level playing field for all. His early initiatives, like the Square Deal program, reflected this belief. The Square Deal was a domestic program aimed at three key issues: conservation of natural resources, control of corporations, and consumer protection. It was a groundbreaking approach, a clear statement that the government should and could play a role in shaping the nation's economic and social landscape. Roosevelt was not just a leader, but a visionary. He understood that the principles of fairness, justice, and equality were not just abstract ideas, but tangible goals that could be achieved with the right policies and the right leadership. He saw the presidency as a bully pulpit, a platform from which he could advocate for change and rally the nation behind progressive causes. His presidency was not without its challenges, of course. He faced opposition from conservatives who feared his progressive policies, and from corporations that resisted his efforts to regulate their power. But Roosevelt was undeterred. He stood firm in his convictions and pushed forward with his agenda, setting the stage for a new era in American politics. And thus began the era of Roosevelt's progressive presidency. But Roosevelt was not just a leader, he was a champion of social reform. His presidency was marked by an unwavering commitment to progressive ideals and a dedication to the betterment of American society. One of the most notable aspects of Roosevelt's social reform was his advocacy for women's rights. He believed that all citizens, regardless of gender, should have the opportunity to contribute to society and to shape its future. His support for women's suffrage was groundbreaking at the time, helping to pave the way for the 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote. Roosevelt also championed labor rights. He understood the importance of fair labor practices and the dignity of work. His administration passed significant legislation, including the Fair Labor Standards Act, which established minimum wage, overtime pay, and child labor standards. These laws are still in force today, protecting millions of American workers. Economic reform was another cornerstone of Roosevelt's social advocacy. During his presidency, Roosevelt implemented policies aimed at breaking up large monopolies to promote competition and protect consumers. He introduced the Square Deal, a domestic program focused on conservation of natural resources, control of corporations, and consumer protection. The Square Deal was a turning point in American history, marking the first time that the federal government took on the role of protecting the rights and interests of the common man. Roosevelt's progressive ideals were not just words, they were actions that led to tangible change. During his presidency, Roosevelt used his position and influence to champion social reform, advocating for those who were often overlooked by society. His commitment to social reform was a defining feature of his presidency, and his policies continue to shape America today. His legacy is evident in the rights and protections that we often take for granted: the right to vote, fair labor practices, and economic protections. Roosevelt's social reforms left a lasting impact on American society. He set a precedent for future leaders, demonstrating that the presidency is not just about leading, but also about advocating for change and championing the rights of all citizens. Yet Roosevelt was not only a social reformer, he was also a pioneering environmentalist. This facet of his presidency, often overshadowed by his other accomplishments, was nonetheless groundbreaking. Roosevelt's love for the outdoors was legendary. As a child, he was captivated by nature, collecting plant specimens and studying animals. This fascination followed him into his adult life and ultimately his presidency. His personal passion for nature translated into a professional commitment to environmental conservation. Roosevelt was the first president to use the powers of his office to protect and preserve the natural world. His conservation efforts were unprecedented, leading to the establishment of the United States Forest Service in the early 20th century. He also signed into law the Antiquities Act, which allowed him to designate national monuments. Under Roosevelt's leadership, the United States saw an expansion of protected lands. He set aside more than 200 million acres of public land, establishing 51 federal bird reserves, 4 national game reserves, and 150 national forests. But perhaps the crown jewel of Roosevelt's environmental legacy is the creation of 5 national parks, including iconic ones like Yosemite and Grand Canyon. Roosevelt once said, "In the Grand Canyon, Arizona has a natural wonder which is in kind absolutely unparalleled throughout the rest of the world." His determination to protect such natural treasures for future generations was a testament to his foresight and love for the environment. Roosevelt's environmental efforts weren't just about preserving landscapes, but also about protecting the diverse species that inhabit them. He established the first federal wildlife refuge at Pelican Island, Florida, a significant step in preserving America's biodiversity. Roosevelt's commitment to conservation was not a political strategy, but a deeply held belief. He saw the preservation of nature as a duty, not just to the present, but to future generations. His passion for nature and his commitment to its preservation were revolutionary for his time and continue to inspire environmentalists today. Roosevelt's environmental legacy lives on in the natural beauty preserved across America. His vision for a greener America transformed the nation and set a precedent for future leaders to follow. Roosevelt's presidency ended in 1909, but his influence did not. The ideals and policies he championed during his time in office continue to reverberate through American society and policy, shaping the nation that we know today. Roosevelt's progressive ideals were not confined to his era. They transcended time, laying the groundwork for a future America that valued equality, justice, and environmental conservation. His advocacy for women's rights, for instance, was ahead of its time, pushing against societal norms and paving the way for the significant strides in gender equality that we see today. He was a champion of the underprivileged and the working class. His social reforms, such as the creation of labor laws and the regulation of big businesses, set the stage for the modern welfare state. These reforms have since been expanded and refined, but their roots can be traced back to Roosevelt's presidency. His commitment to social justice was not just a political stance, but a firm belief that continues to influence American policy. In the realm of environmental conservation, Roosevelt was a visionary. His efforts to preserve natural resources and wildlife habitats set a precedent that continues to guide our approach to environmental protection. His legacy is seen in the national parks we cherish, the clean air we breathe, and the diverse wildlife we strive to protect. Roosevelt's presidency also served to redefine the role of the American president. He demonstrated that the office was not merely an administrative role, but a platform for societal change. His proactive approach to governance, his willingness to challenge entrenched interests, and his commitment to progressive ideals reshaped our understanding of what a president could and should do. As we look around us today, we see the lasting legacy of Roosevelt's presidency. His impact is woven into the fabric of our nation in our laws, our values, and our aspirations. Roosevelt's presidency was not just a period in history, it was a turning point. As we reflect on Roosevelt's presidency, we are reminded of his progressive ideals. The dawn of a new era under his leadership was marked by a profound commitment to societal harmony. His tireless advocacy for women's rights and his relentless pursuit of social reform were not mere political stances, but deeply etched principles that guided his presidency. Roosevelt wasn't just a champion of social reform, he was also a green president. His dedication to environmental conservation was ahead of its time, showcasing a clear understanding of the interdependence between humanity and nature. His vision gave birth to an era of environmental consciousness, setting a precedent for the leaders who followed. The legacy of Roosevelt's presidency extends far beyond his term in the White House. His progressive ideals have left an indelible mark on American history, shaping the nation's trajectory towards equality and sustainability. This lasting legacy is a testament to his visionary leadership and a reminder of the transformative power of progressive politics. In sum, Roosevelt's presidency was not just a period in history, but a beacon of progressive ideals that continues to illuminate the path towards a more equitable and sustainable world. Roosevelt's progressive ideals continue to inspire and guide us, reminding us of the power of a leader's vision and conviction.